Kia ora. This program is brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Get your voice heard.
And welcome to the Blackhouse on 106.1 FM. It's the 30th of October.
That's right.
It's a Halloween episode.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So you're here with Eddie, Leah, and Nani.
And this is Halloween.
This is Halloween.
Halloween.
All right, so before we kick it off, we'll just throw it over to Leah to do some quick announcements. Community announcements? Let's go.
Community
Take it away,
announcements.
Leah.
Jumbo. Hey, first of all, I've got a few things that are happening in the community currently, so I'm just gonna reel them off right now. We've got the IRRS campaign meetings. Now, the reason that I'm going to keep announcing it on here is because quite a lot of our community live in council housing, and the reason we're having these campaign meetings is to get the income-related rent subsidy access, just like Kainga Ora. Currently, council tenants pay 70% of the market rate, as opposed to 25% of their income and rent. And it's quickly becoming inaffordable to live in affordable housing. So we're meeting on Thursdays at 6 p.m. and the place that we meet is the Thomas Centre, and it's right next to Macca's in Newtown. And the campaign is moving fast ahead. We need more people from council tenancies, like Berkeley Dowler, Newtown Park Flats, Daniel Street, Mount Cook area. We want council tenants from over the east side, Strathmore, Miramar, and we want council tenants from as far up as Tawa. So we would like yous to come and get involved. Listen to that, like yous. Doesn't I sound like, Jesus, I sound like a real Kiwi when I say that.
Yeah.
We would like you all to...
No. We'd like you all to come down.
We'd like you all to come down.
Thank you.
And be a part of this, because it is being driven from the ground up. We've got the attention of the MPs. We've got the attention of Megan Woods. The IRRS is what we want, and that's all we want is the IRRS. We've had the mayor, the Wellington City Councillors on board, so. Come on, this time we might get this over the line, and we actually need all of you to take part. Leaders in the African community, please encourage your people to get in behind this, okay? Because they're going to benefit from it. They're going to have more affordable rent, and their families are going to be better off. Okay, next on is Africa Week. Now, Africa Week starts next week. It's going from the 1st to the 5th of, what month are we? November.
Yeah.
And go online, check out their page. We have put the links up on Blackhouse, off our Facebook page. The Blackhouse has had a bit of a contribution in that. So Secret Squirrel, look out for it. And go on and enjoy it. It looks like it's going to be really good. It's an online celebration at the moment. And I think down the line, we might even make it real.
If it comes around again next year, we do a trip up, or they can come down to us.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be awesome. So also another change, the African Film Festival Australasia Online, right? That's going to be running from the 10th of December 2021 to the 7th of January 2022. Christmas and New Year holidays with African films in your own bubbles. The Blackhouse had the privilege of doing a really cool interview with the African Film Festival. So look out for that on our YouTube page, and we'll be sharing it on our Facebook.
So that's coming up. Is it today, tomorrow? Today.
It'll be coming out today. So
the extras, yeah. You can finish up the show and go watch that. It's a great interview.
Yeah.
We sorted out all our technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Because that was a mission.
Yeah, it was a mission. Yeah. So finally. Auntie called.
Last but not least.
Auntie called.
Least but not
Auntie
last.
called. And Auntie, when I say Auntie, everybody knows I mean Auntie Wanjiku Kiari. She's in the head of an organisation called Africa Connection Aotearoa. And she's looking for more people to join her organisation and get involved with her organisation. Auntie Wanjiku is an actor, an activist, a playwright, a dramaturg. She does everything, and a poet. And Africa Connection is about bringing creatives together and expressing themselves and having that space to do that and getting supported from somebody who's got teeth in the game. She's was married to Martin Saunderson, who was the writer of Shortland Street.
Oh, nice.
And and so she's got teeth in the game, and she's really good at what she does. And she wants to get young people in behind her organisation, and new blood, fresh meat.
Speaking of teeth and new blood to true blood. Nani is dressed as a vampire.
I am.
Halloween
You noted.
is here.
Halloween
is here.
This is in fact Halloween. Yes, no, I'm sorry. I am proud of myself because I took the bus in. I took a train and I took a bus with my fangs.
Looking like a Dracula.
Yep, that's the right.
Dracula.
I'm so glad you guys have the taste not to make a Blackula joke. I don't.
honestly, so obviously Nani and I have over the on the Levels shows have brought up Halloween and vampire movies and zombie movies and werewolf movies.
Thank you, Eddie Murphy.
And that's the thing. So a couple of days ago I was trying to work out what streaming service has the black media that I want to watch.
Yeah.
So
right?
so there's the show that I want to watch called Small Axe.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to work out what streaming service had it, and Amazon had it.
Right.
And there was Amazon's Black Voices, and it scrolled down, and Vampire in Brooklyn was one of the first movies to come up.
Oh, that movie changed me.
So Vampire in Brooklyn is the Eddie Murphy vampire movie. Check it out,
Was
please.
it Chris Rock or Chris Tucker who played his ghoul?
I think it's Chris Tucker.
Yeah, right? It's Chris Tucker who plays his ghoul. And I can't... Who was it? Who is the lead female as well?
Viola
Davis.
No, Viola. Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett.
That's
I was like,
yeah,
it's
she's
Angela
got
Bassett.
the face for that.
Oh my God, doesn't she
just those cheekbones.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really interesting. There's a movie. It's called Jump in the Broom, and they have Viola Davis in it as so it's essentially the African American family and a Haitian family.
Yeah.
And they have it's one of those kind of typical family drama beef movies.
Yeah.
And it's great because Viola Davis plays the mother of the bride who's Haitian.
Yeah.
And speaks in full Haitian Creole. Wow. And it's fantastic. It's so good.
Oh, there we go.
So
Angela Bassett, not Viola Davis. Sorry.
I've got a question for you guys. I want to know, what do you know about Halloween celebrations or festivals in black communities globally?
Well,
so this is everywhere in the diaspora that black people live. What do you know about that?
Well, I come from America, and I've noticed that they don't celebrate Halloween here altogether. Very much that topsy-turvy Halloween, that fall shifting holiday, that's just not here, white or black. But in the States, are you joking me? They got pumpkins on their ceilings. It is the other Christmas. And, not to put too fine a point on it, but that shenanigans are Nestle sponsored as heck. It is a candy-based holiday where all of the candy companies are pumping money into making sure that they are being seen. People do exactly the same thing they do on Christmas, where they cover their house in every kind of something. And it also plays into, in America, a long history of Sleepy Hollow style. Right?
Like hauntings.
Yeah, of
Right.
hauntings, which is like of it's not just like the topsy-turvy ghosts and vampires. It actually plays into the shift from summer to fall to winter, which is like the shift into that the veil of the spirit realm is thinner.
What about
Beltane
Jamaica.
Samhain.
Jamaica, I actually don't know. I think Jamaica consumes a lot of American media.
Yeah.
So I think part of it will be that. My guess will be is that I think in a lot of places, and I guess it comes down to if you have things that have really strong, more direct African roots. So obviously the US of the difference. So if you look at the large amount of black populations, there are people who have, like, you know, America was the first colony to essentially raise its slaves in the slave population was from America and born within America, versus wherever else was kind of importing slaves. Like Brazil kept importing slaves. Jamaica kept importing slaves. Haiti started importing slaves.
So they never got that
so
second generation, third generation?
Well, you did over time, but it wasn't. You always had very strong ties to Africa.
Yeah.
And my theory is that it's almost a thing of like, maybe because of those ties to Africa, it's that kind of point where the dead or the spirit, it's like spirits and lots of things are kind of always present. It's not like there's a specific, like, I think Halloween in the kind of European kind of model is almost this kind of point, the point where suddenly witches and ghouls and ghosts and all that thing can cross over.
Yeah.
And the fae folk can cross over.
Yeah.
But in African side of things, you know, the dead are kind of present. They're part of life anyway. So
Yeah,
look at voodoo. Like the spirits, law, all those things are just present anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not necessarily as strong a tradition because the expectation is the dead are just kind of around.
Like the concept that the dead, you're like, are you joking me? Grandma's right here, Grandpa's right here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? They're always with me, and they're present in the wisdoms that I carry and in, you know, the culture that I carry. You don't just you do not let your dead just rest within that culture. And I think that there is a lot to be said for that, like, shift in Eurocentric culture. I wonder if it has to do with the shifting equatorial Africa. We're not getting winters like they're getting. So like that shift in the seasons might actually have an impact on it. Does it? I don't know. Could it? It could.
Leah, what do you know? I feel like
Leah,
you're like holding on to some knowledge here,
right? America, Jamaica, New Zealand speak.
Yeah, well, in New Zealand, it's been I see Halloween as a Christian or a Celtic sort of thing, because that's how it's been shared down here, if you know what I mean. You know, it comes from that sort of background. But when it comes to the spirit realm and maybe not on Halloween, right? They do in Africa. I don't think it would be a celebrated holiday, even though it's becoming. You know, like I've been reading in articles that, from a touristy point of view and from an influence of the West on Africa, young people have started sort of going, oh, yeah, it's Halloween because they've seen these things on movies. Yeah. But from a traditional, no, because they've got this absolute phobia about witches. Yeah. Yeah, when I was in Zimbabwe, it was crazy. Like I was reading the newspaper and I was reading witch reports the same way that you would read motorcycle accidents and burglaries, and like I'm like, what is this? I've never because the whole thing about witchcraft is that even though it's a very Christian country, and you know, like they've got their own sort of like they'd have their own tradition, religious as well, like everywhere else, but it's been deemed and pushed into that anything that's not Christian or Muslim is witchcraft, which is quite I don't know if I sort of 100% agree with that from my own personal perspective. You know, I know in Tanzania, for example, while I was there was this thing called a pawpaw bawa.
Oh,
right?
I've heard of Papa Bow.
Okay,
I have
and
not. I'm
they had an
ignorant to this.
outbreak of pawpaw bawa reports while I was there, and I was like,
So when was that? That would have been
95.
Somebody's
Yeah,
got to
I've-
educate
I-
me. I'm ignorant here.
okay. Yeah,
Okay, so the pawpaw bawa is like a bat-like
Okay.
spirit, demon
Yeah.
sort of thing that flies, like it can fly across the water, and
Right.
and what it does is it attacks people in their sleep.
Mm.
And you know that it's been there because it's left a little bit of a reminder that it's been there.
Yeah.
And, when I was hearing about this, I sort of said to my sister, so if somebody was being attacked by a family member
Yeah.
or incestuous sort of situation
Yeah.
with a younger person in the family, do you think if it was you, for example, would you say it was a pawpaw bawa or would you name the person?
Yeah.
And she just looked me dead in the eyes and she said pawpaw bawa.
Wow. Holy crap.
So, I don't know what this thing is,
Yeah.
but I know that it could that it could be used in a way to cover up, things, taboo issues,
Yeah.
taboo sexual relations in a family and things like that.
it's interesting because 1995, in terms of monster outbreaks, obviously, like you said, that what you described is probably quite a reasonable explanation for that sort of things. But there was one I remember that's with the chupacabra in Mexico, and it actually wasn't even started in Mexico. It started the chupacabra myth started in Puerto Rico.
Really?
And and then, but it was that same thing suddenly in around 1994, 1995.
The chupacabra was everywhere.
Chupacabra mania hit.
Yeah.
Where suddenly you started finding these corpses of goats and chickens drained of blood or whatever.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it spread like wildfire. Suddenly chupacabras were being reported in even as far north as New York. You get it's this thing. Suddenly, it was this mania of suddenly chupacabra sightings.
Yeah.
And it's interesting seeing what about that time? It always feels like it lines up. What about that time?
Yeah.
Suddenly fostered itself to these spreads of this wildfire of it's almost like they said an outbreak.
Yeah.
An outbreak of Papa Bawa attacks, an outbreak of chupacabra sightings.
Well, I think that within our community, there's a lot of and I know why, because you don't go to the police. You do not go to the police, and within family council, it's a hierarchy, and if you're not on the top of the hierarchy, you do not speak up. And I think that that's actually a big part of these topsy-turvy inversion holidays, is it sort of gives space and room for that.
For the people that can't speak up to speak up or be visible.
To start showing the part of themselves that has been warped or wounded.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of health in that, especially if you look into modern psychology. I think one of the things that you bump into, however, is that in our community, we're still processing we're trying to lean into processing this through therapy, talk therapy, and more clean clinical methods right now. But I actually think there's a lot to be said for look, this holiday, these topsy-turvy holidays, they go back a very long time. Yeah. They have a long record of helping to start move that energy. For my part, having a daughter who is terrified of literally everything, she's been weaned into the fact that this world is a terrifying place through this I'm like, sweetheart, this is just Halloween scary. The world is a terrifying place. But we're going to wean you onto that fact with fake skeletons that smile at you, and I think that gentle weaning into the reality of the situation and the weight of the world is such. I think that our culture could use more of that. That preparation, right? Where we can say to our kids, "Here is a pumpkin with a scary face," and they'll go, "Ah," and you're like, "But it's not really scary," and they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "But the world is really this kind of scary."
See, I have a different take on Halloween and betting Halloween here, and I think obviously people I've watched a lot of people put up things about we need to celebrate Halloween, we need to do stuff with Halloween, and people have gone, "Oh, actually, no, it's American, it's commercialized."
It's not American at all.
But then the thing I think is that. In the US, I'm not saying it's a lost cause, but I'm saying Halloween has been shifted to be this thing for children.
Yeah.
But if you look at the roots, it's much more like either a community and much more an adult thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I almost think is actually probably a thing when people say, oh, Halloween, it's just for people to put on costumes that look sexy and get drunk.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, actually that
we do that anyway.
There is no, I think there's value in embedding Halloween here as a kind of point of adult release.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
it's that space where we can dress up silly.
Yeah.
We can dress up. Like we can, you know, and it's an adult space as opposed and
well
I pulled this up from the New African magazine, and you know this was written by, you know, this is a magazine written by Africans for Africans. So they said. This quote, some are quite opposed to Halloween, the Western version, being celebrated in countries that have fears of witchcraft practice and see any necromancy or afterlife veneration as witchcraft, even though Halloween in its original sense wasn't a witchcraft festival at all, but a veneration of saints and martyrs, which is something which ironically is something that's celebrated in Christendom, and Christendom is spread all over Africa. You know.
But I think the plus of the thing on top of that though is that where the real root, or is that where it's like when you've had Christians come and overtake pagan, like especially Celtic pagan belief, is that how you can shift it to be like, okay, it's less about celebrating the spirits, or it's about these certain group of gods, and what you do is you shift that to be like, oh, it's about saints and martyrs and all that sort of thing, and you at least you know, you allow the practice, but you change the veneer to keep it within your circle of control.
I think that there's a lot to be said for the Pan-African relationship to the concept of monoculture as well. On one hand, like listening to you both, on one hand you have this thing of, oh, the monoculture is trying to push Halloween on us. And then there's another one who's like, monoculture is trying to take Halloween from us. You know, like Christian monoculture is trying to force us to have Halloween even though we're Christian. Wait, what?
It just doesn't. It's sort of ironic, really, in a way.
Yeah.
Right. Just so on that point, should we jump to some music?
We should jump to some music.
Okay, so we're gonna make a bit of a mix. So we got first up, we have "Naked" by Tando, and this is off her new album, I believe, new release stuff. So that's really cool. I'm really excited to hear that.
I left you to do all the research on the music this week.
Tell
me.
When I picked the songs and tagged the artists afterwards, I'm going like this. So like. Next up, we have The Breakup Rhythm from DJ Aroma, Mr. Easy. And then we have Airborne from Gino October. So let's get into that. So first up, we have Naked from Tando. Why is it?
I wanna undress you, baby. Let me see everything. There's no need to front, you will get what you want if you let me. Said I wanna undress you, baby, and let me see everything. Yes. There's no need to front, you will get what you want if you let me. Let me look into your soul. The vibes you're giving are out of control. Tell me all about your ancestors, your mother and your brother. What about sisters? Won't you let me expose you? No, not just your body. Let me get to know you. I wanna see what's real underneath your clothes. See into your soul. I wanna undress you, baby. Let me see everything. There's no need to front, you will get what you want if you let me. Yeah, I wanna undress you, baby. So let me see everything. Yes. There's no need to front, you will get what you want if you let me. Cause a lover like me needs substance, not a banging body or a bank account. Give me intelligence and all its abundance. Feed my mind and I'll ease your soul. You'll never have to worry about me walking out. And I never doubted you could put it down. Now you know exactly what I'm looking for. Baby, baby, I said I wanna undress you, baby. Let me see everything, yes. There's no need to front, you will get what you want if you let me. Oh, I said I wanna undress you, baby. Everything, yeah. There's no need to front, you will get what Twist your body, baby, show me your soul. You really got me going on out of control, yes. I wanna see ya, I wanna see ya, I wanna see you, yeah. Not just your body, baby, show me your soul. You really got me going on out of control, yeah. I wanna see ya, I wanna see ya, I wanna see ya.
DJ Aroma.
For better, for us, that is what you promised. Orekele wajo da mi lohun. You know say me and you go get it better. Oya baby jọ̀wọ́ bí kò kúlù temper, yeah. Wọ́n lé mi nílé nítorí ẹ bèbí o, bàbá mi délé lọ́kàn mi lè balẹ̀. Bíkò 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 dá mi lóhùn. Fire that.
Yeah, yeah. When it comes down to it, I'm airborne. Vibes just too contagious. You should update your playlist up to. Don't you know I'm the latest? Yeah, flow so sick and it's airborne. They don't know what this strain is. Enemies getting mutated. Funny cause I already got two faces. Face it, Geno's back, you better. Yo, what? Might be hard to believe. This comes easy to me. I make a hit, then I rinse and repeat. Luck, huh? Nothing's lucky about me. See, I'm too efficient, no superstition. Thought that you knew, but obviously that's not the case. Yeah, I don't do shit for the internet craze. You looked at the followers before you followed the page. Shoving this content down your throat, but what about taste? Fuck a bag full of tricks, got a bust though. Shut a few, got a lot more tucked though. Pull it out, they ain't ready when I bust though. And I'm still going for the gusto. Yeah, you show no mercy. Same way with us though. Yeah, flow so dirty, you don't wanna touch those. Too infectious, you can't forget this cuz it comes down to it, I'm airborne. Vibes is too contagious. You should update your playlist up to. Don't you know I'm the latest? Yeah, flow so sick and it's airborne. They don't know what this strain is. Enemies getting mutated. Funny cause I already got two faces. Face it, Geno's back, you better back up. In front of the mic, it's only me, but you better call back up. Me and utility in your vicinity, put your mask up. Like PPE, no BP. Who got you gassed up? Thinking that you could match up. Better pick up the pace, man, catch up. Sound waves way too toxic. Still working, counting my profits. Can't relax, can't sit down. Till I'm standing where the top is. Until I tell my moms and pops that they don't need a job, they can cop that property. Until then, ain't no stopping me. Until then, can't chill properly. Yeah. Also, I need to clean up award shows. I treat this genre like it's a weight class champion belt my torso. I'm not normal. See me, better act cordial. You don't want smoke, might catch you with sore throat. Cause when it comes down to it, I'm airborne. Vibes just too contagious. You should update your playlist up to. Don't you know I'm the latest? Yeah, flow so sick and it's airborne. They don't know what this strain is. Enemies getting mutated. Funny cause I already got two faces. Face it, Geno's back, you better get your shit together. You better guard your doomsday bunker. Better, you better. MCs can't find them. Scared of a lyrical hiding, they're hiding. Just kidding, flexing cause I was born with a rhythm. Fix up all of your flows. Put a little effort in those. You bore me with those. Thinking it's easy, please come do shows. No backtracks, no back of tracks as far as these verses go. Seen it backstage, he just froze. Watch and learn, but cover your nose. Cause when it comes down to it, I'm airborne. Vibes is too contagious. You should update your playlist up to. Don't you know I'm the latest? Yeah, flow so sick and it's airborne. They don't know what this strain is. Enemies getting mutated. Funny cause I already got two faces. Face it, Geno's back, you better.
And we are back on the Blackhouse. Oh, my mic's messing out. Oh, here we go. We are back on. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
cool.
you.
It's just my own headphones.
I
Cool.
love that track by Gino.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I think it's his voice is really young.
I can't work out if we've played that track before in the last couple of weeks, but at the end of the day, I
Doesn't
don't
matter.
really care.
It's such a bouncy tune, and something about his voice.
Smooth, an optimal mix of a smooth voice and a good BPM, and I'm just like, I'm here. Hello.
Sweet, so we're back on the Blackhouse's Halloween episode. One moment, I'm just queuing saying it. We're back on the Blackhouse's Halloween episode. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I just sitting there. It's one of those points I had to put up on YouTube and I couldn't quite. I was like, is there going to be an ad? So I got a vamp long enough to get it to that point. So they're Blackhouse on Halloween.
I just want to say something before you guys jump in.
Jump in.
Yeah.
Jump in.
You know, like we keep saying it's a Christian holiday.
Yeah.
But the history of it says something quite different. It was
No.
the Vigil of Samhain, which traces back nearly
Samhain.
2,000 years.
Well, there's the Samhain and Beltane, which were the seasonal corners.
Right.
And it's not that when we say it's Christian, what we mean is American Christian, which is the
Right.
Coca-Cola version of Christian.
But it's also like how every Christian holiday, like Christmas, like Easter, like all those kind of festivals are based on older ones, right?
Yeah.
Like Easter is based off of Ostade.
Yes.
Like that sort of thing. Like, I actually had a theory. I worked it out. The reason why Valentine's Day is like a pre-Easter, pre-May Day one.
Right.
Where essentially Valentine's Day is when everyone gets busy, and then by the time May Day or Easter roll around, that's when first people start working. Like that's when people will work out that they're pregnant. Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh my God, you probably nailed it.
The eggs.
The eggs.
The
Yeah,
eggs.
there we go.
Now I get the eggs.
I had that thought. I was sitting there and I was like, Valentine's Day is within a month, within obviously a month of Easter, but then within
my
two,
God.
2-3 months of what would be May Day.
I've just mind blown.
Yeah.
I've just figured out rabbits and eggs.
I'm
I'm just like, wow, it's all about pregnancy.
wow,
Yeah.
that actually explains a lot.
And rabbits breed like,
Rabbits breed like
and you need eggs.
Yeah. There
Put
there
the
we go.
two together, and you've got Easter.
Huevos rancheros.
yeah.
Huevos conejos, my
Yeah.
friends.
That's the thing. I was like, that's and again, that's you see, Valentine's Day, Saint Valentine.
Yeah.
So you've
Right.
managed to tie it in. So you kind of go, okay, well, that's when everybody's kind of getting it on, and now, and now it's rolled round. And suddenly, it's you touch it, and then you can keep people don't have to change. They just kind of it's the practice doesn't change, but just the name and the kind of
Oh
the
my
denomination changes, right?
Oh, that is okay.
So back to Halloween.
Halloween.
Well, I mean,
Personally, my favorite holiday.
I was gonna say, like, actually that's not too far off, because here's the thing. Here's something that I feel like. Let's wrap this back into New Zealand. Things that I feel.
Things that I feel. By Nani Mahal.
My yard right now is full of spring flowers, right? I'm not feeling like I'm dressed like a vampire, but like last week I was in pink and blue because I was like spring, right? And I want to make like spring themed macaroons and stuff because that right now seasonally, this is not the vibe for vampires and witches. I want to be like that, like on the other side of the year.
Yeah.
When it's dark,
Right.
and the sun goes down really early.
Exactly.
And it's wet and
I actually
muddy.
feel like there's something to be said for I feel like this time of year, whilst I'm absolutely going to celebrate Halloween, you can't stop me. I feel like there needs to be something to like as much as I said last time we need a holiday on the other side to represent Halloween. I feel like New Zealand needs a May Day right now, like something that's equivalent to it, like an Easter or a May Day, some sort of welcoming spring-specific holiday for the Southern Hemisphere. Yes, thank you very much. I want to have this quarterly festive feeling that I have that I associate with Halloween, but I want it to line up with, the seasons around me.
I think the seasonal thing for Halloween actually kind of works into the commercialism of Halloween for children.
Yeah.
Because you've got that longer period of time after work that you can take the kids around and yada yada.
That's true, actually.
So that works really nicely. But I do like the idea of like the really scary Halloweens and
Speaking of really scary, so my flat is opposite an abandoned apartment block on the terrace. So so my entire flat was sitting in the living room, so we can see out our kind of kitchen,
see the
living room,
ghosts of landlords that haven't been paid for ages.
like coming out, opening
the rent.
opening out,
Give me
like
the rent.
coming out, clawing out the darkness like Nosferatu.
The ghost of
you owe me $1,500.
the rent, the ghost of rent yet to be paid.
And the tenants receive their bond back. So like my flatmates and I were sitting in Ulana kitchen on, I must have been Thursday night. Wednesday night, and we were all looking, and then this is probably kind of 10:30 at night, and then suddenly in like the window of like one of like this abandoned building, you start in this red light. Flash. And we're just, someone's like, does anyone see that red light up there? And I'm just like, okay, we're all gonna die. That's like, great. And I like messaged my girlfriend, and I was just like, hey, it's been great. Like, just on the off chance that I get brutally murdered by like a hook-handed man. Like, you were fantastic.
Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would say Candyman a couple times in the mirror just to see that man in person. I'm just
Tony Todd.
Oh, I'm just saying. A couple times in the mirror, be like, Candyman. Where he at, though?
And then you just say, Instagram.
Right? Like,
about to be married.
my last photo is just me making like duck faces.
As you see like the hook and the bees coming.
And then he gives you a big smile too.
But it's weird though, because Candyman, like the original story of a Candyman was, so you've seen the Candyman movie, right?
Oh yeah.
I
So
love
the original story of Candyman was that it was set in Liverpool. It was a working class.
Really?
It was a
really?
So it was a British working class story.
Oh.
So it was set in a British working class community, and there was that. And then when they did the movie, they were like, okay, let's adapt this to like crack era Detroit,
Yeah.
like housing projects Detroit, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things that translates really well. And it's one of those things where someone says like, I think in this time where we're now getting like we get more you get like in this era of remakes,
Yeah.
we almost need that thing to think about is, okay, cool, what made the original movies really relevant? Like, what do they really hit? Like, so Candyman, like, is about, like, gentrification and racial discrimination. And that's the new Candyman is specifically about gentrification.
Yeah.
It's almost this whole thing of someone who grew up when this was in this era, when it was a project, returning when all the hipstery white people have moved in.
A little bit like Newtown.
But it's the thing is, how can you embed horror movies then if you're going to do horror movies and you're going to remake them?
So
how do you update them? Like what's the way you update them?
I can kind of imagine the Halloween movie, but this time it's black people. I can imagine that.
I'm curious about what was the original story in Liverpool, because the story in America was about a slave that had a relationship with a white woman, and then he got lynched and covered in tar and
bees.
What is it? Honey covered in something.
Yeah.
Treacle maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the bees came, and that's why the bees are always a part of it. But what was the story in Liverpool?
I don't know the specific story in Liverpool, but that's the thing I read up about it. It was saying like what it was. It was, I guess, or more. I guess in the same way that it's based on like the kind of revenge of, I guess, a former slave of someone on the revenge of like someone who's been the victim of brutal racial discriminate like prejudice. I suppose it's probably a working class revenge story. I suppose.
Yeah.
The Liverpool one. I haven't actually read it. Like it's one of those things I read an article about it and was saying like it's interesting that one of my mates is really into horror films, and he was saying no, it was originally working class Liverpool, and they translated it to working class Detroit. Like,
I was thinking, like if I was to just circle back around to the Africa and the Black diaspora and Halloween and spirits, I was thinking that the thing about witchcraft in Africa is that it's so like they just repel it, like they don't want it around them, and like a lot of the stuff to do with Halloween in the West is not so much about the Samhain Beltane. It's all about spirits, and it's all about demons and all these different ghouls and goblins. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like you say, it's about that. I think that there's actually like got to be some divisions here, because I think one, you've got the West, and then you've got New Zealand, and then you've got America, and then you've got England, and I'm like, actually, like you wouldn't get two people in like England to agree from like West to like East, Manchester.
Oh, geez, you wouldn't even get them understanding one another. They can all be speaking the same language.
Yeah. But my point is that like so I kind of almost want to say like there like obviously there's levels to Halloween, and like we kind of say Halloween, but we don't all agree.
Yeah,
I think
what
that,
it is.
Right? Like it's like the spirit of Christmas. Is it Jesus or is it presents? And I think that there's a sort of like the spirit of Halloween. Is it ghosts and ghouls, witchcraft, or candy? Because actually candy's delicious, and taking my kids out to knock on my neighbor's door is actually a really good social activity. Like, I have a daughter. I take her out to go knock on other people's door. They come out, they smile at her, and they give her candy. And I'm like, this is 90% of your life moving forward, sweetheart. This is a good practice.
I definitely don't think that celebrating Halloween, whichever way you want to celebrate it, if you want to celebrate it at all, revokes your black card in any way, shape, or form.
No, not even a little bit. But I do think that I was even listening to you speak. I wonder if you sort of also feel a little bit of that's because when black people do witchcraft, we mean it, right?
Yes.
Like you know what I mean, right? Like
absolutely.
we don't do it because we don't do it because we're like I ain't gonna touch it because I don't like I think it might work.
Well, I remember I don't do a lot of Halloween parties. Like the two that I have done, one was one I went to as like a particular comic book character.
Yeah.
And the other I went as Baron Samedi.
Right.
So that,
wow.
and that was the thing for me. I was like, well, do you know what? Fuck it. Like this is the one point where I can dress up like a Vodou Baron.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna question that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. It was almost this point where I had this opportunity to like I can use what for everybody else is a chance to get drunk in a costume. I can use this as a way of as a connection point to something I'm trying to understand.
Yeah. No, I do. I wonder, because here I am in New Zealand, and I don't actually feel like I feel more connected to the land now than I did when I first got here. But when I first got here, I felt like the like no access to what you would call the mana of the land. I just didn't feel like I was a part of it. And I feel like that they're like we might be like flippantly being like witches, but like imagine you actually have experienced, and I have experienced some crazy things, right? I ain't gonna write nothing off because I've seen some crazy things.
Yeah.
And like I imagine if you had like an actual vindictive African mistress with your name on a doll, you would definitely be like, all right, I'm done. Who six of them?
That's interesting because do you know what it reminds me of? That reminds me of like it's one of the probably more sexist part of Eddie Murphy's comedy.
Yeah.
It's the bit where he's like the whole you gotta go find yourself like an African wife and then that's it. But that's almost that kind of idea. That's like almost you sit there and go, it's almost this weird, not weird, but it's almost that not culture clash, but it's that black people from the diaspora connecting to black people from Africa. And trying to work out what that space is.
Working out what it is.
Well, I mean, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, imagine here that's just not a relevant factor.
Well,
like,
is it? Because, I mean, a lot of people bring that in the well, I'm going to out some people. No, I'm not.
I was literally just sitting here being like, now don't tell the story of that one girl. I'm like, I ain't telling. Girl, you in my past. If I got one spell up, it's this. What I am rubber, you are glue. Whatever witchcraft you send at me, that let it bounce.
Yeah, it's quite a common practice. It's quite a common practice in some African cultures to actually repel the evil eye.
Yes,
and like use. Go back home to get stuff, and then come back. Very common when I was in Australia. People traveling back home to get the job fixed and then come back. Well, so it's not like it's real. Like the thing is that witchcraft and that sort of thing is. Even though we do live in a Christian, even though a lot of them will say we're Christian, it's very real to some other people when they're not getting what they want. And it's a way I sort of look at it as a way that people can get power when they feel powerless.
Well, I wonder if that's actually a huge part of it. Like, I love listening to you say that because that's actually been, I think that's the dichotomy of Halloween. If you believe in witches, you want no part of this. Yeah. But the funny thing is the people who are happy, like me, to dress up as a vampire, it's because I don't believe in them. Like on some deep, like, I believe in the essence and the psychology of being vampiric as a human with power. I believe in that.
There are some vampires out there, and then they don't drink blood; they drink emotions.
Yeah, and like money, right? And like time.
And that one time, me and my girlfriends got that voodoo shit, and the voodoo shit worked. Like, okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So like that's what I mean. Like I actually think that the ironic thing is that like people like me, where I don't actually, I am not going to walk down the street worrying about my neck. I'm just not going to do it. But that's almost like a flippant disregard for a culture of people who are like, nah, I seen it.
Yeah. Because some of they've even got markets in like South Africa where you can go and buy the ingredients you need to do your stuff.
Spells,
So it's a real living thing. Yeah. But at the same time, they've got this is probably why there's this pervasiveness of the Pentecostal kind of drive out the demons kind of churches and stuff there, because the reality of it is also real. It's tangible. You can touch it. And all that sort of stuff.
I mean, like, let me bring this right back around because, like, because it's October. Of course, I started rereading Carpe Jugulum by Terry Pratchett.
It's October, like Juno.
Yeah, but of course, I'm rereading Terry Pratchett's Carpe Jugulum. I think every New Zealander can agree that Terry Pratchett is a fantastic man, and Carpe Jugulum is a good book. If you've read him.
I have read Terry Pratchett.
Yes, right. And
I never have time to read these days.
And
make your time up.
Make your time up.
You and that accent. I mean, we're going to talk about that. It comes in and out, in and out.
Nah, girl, you get that southern, you got code switch. It's what it is, all right? You know, I'm just saying, you know, I spent time. Anyway. So here I am rereading Carpe Jugulum by Terry Pratchett, and I actually think that Granny Weatherwax, and I will praise her to the day is done, is a really good example of the balance of witchcraft and psychology, where it all boils down to the fact that no, psychology is real. It has tangible impact on people. Telling people that I have a potion made of sucrose and aqua, like sugar water, right? Like, and you have to take this potion all the way up to the mountain to heal your ailment and drink it there. Actually, you're just telling them to get it like 20-minute walk, right? And but acknowledging that aspect of people, that actually that psychology and the psychological impact is real. Talking with fangs is hard. But it's I actually went and sung at Valhalla with my fangs in at one point, and that was very difficult. But my point is that the psychology of it is real. Yeah. Being able to actually address people who do not have like large scientific jargon, or even talking to a more basal part of the human brain. That's a meaningful distinction. And I think that being able to impact, I do really think being able to impact and talk to people on that level, it's very akin to magic.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I'm like doing some things, but I'm not using my words and I'm influencing you, that's witchcraft. Yeah. It don't need to be any weirder than that.
There's an actual saying that I've heard one of my friends from Somalia say quite a lot, and that the tongue is witchcraft.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Like, in fact, that to the point where, like, there is a lot of different translations where a spell, or to speak, or to incant, to enchant is to incant, and to incant is to speak.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got 4 minutes left. I can do one more song, and then I want to close out as well.
Okay.
Oh,
sweet.
All right.
Sweet. So next up we have the new track from Jess B, From the Jump.
Oh,
so I saw you commenting on it with the giant. She had the photo, the music video with the giant braid. All right, so this is From the Jump by Jess B.
I've been doing me right from the jump, yeah. I don't really know how else to be, yeah. I've been doing me and now the whole fam get it. Same team with me from the jump, so let me get it. We gon' do it how we do. Tell the story where we're from. Making way, we making wrong. Okay, do it how I want. Get it how I want. If you ain't moving with me, baby, know I'm moving on. Do me from the jump. Do me from the jump. Greatness in the making, baby, do not interrupt. Ooh, I feel sexy, damn, I feel so free. And I feel comfy like an XLT. And you know that I've been with it from the jump. And you know that I've been with it from the jump. And you know that I've been with it from the jump. And you know that I've been with it from the jump. You know we big, bold bitches, yeah, them King Kong bitches. Oakland City up in the cello, yes, ding dong bitches. And I'm only coming in if I can bring my people. This the story of my life, and now there ain't no sequel. Got to keep it moving, baby, if you want that freedom. If you sit for too long, you gon' get them pins and needles. I never owe you no comforts, I never signed on no dot. I never change up for no one, they what the fuck is you thought? I keep it humble and faithful, but I still know what I got. Cause motherfuckers move like roaches, circle, fly through your spot. I've been doing me right from the jump, yeah. I don't really know how else to be, yeah. I've been doing
jump, so let me get it. We gon' do it how we do. Tell the story where we from. Making way, we making room. Do it how I want. Get it how I want. If you ain't moving with me, baby, know I'm moving on. Do me from the jump. Do me from the jump. Greatness in the making, baby, do not interrupt. Ooh, I feel sexy, damn, I feel so free, and I feel comfy like an XLT. Do me from the jump, do me from the jump. Greatness in the making, baby, do not interrupt.
And welcome back to the Blackhouse 106.1 FM. We're in our last 2 minutes. So, what are we, just about to say, just to close off, what are we doing after this today's show, guys?
Oh, right. We're going to Three Little Birds.
Right, so we're going to Three Little Birds.
Doorstep.
It's a Jamaican restaurant, Jamaican food joint, has finally opened. I don't want to say it's the first in New Zealand, but it's like one of two, maybe.
And you know my mate's saying we're taking over that place.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
What we need to do is like with Mother Coffee and Three Little Birds, we need to make those like the black hangout spots.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Because like that's the thing, I think like we can all come together over food. Like it's the best way to come together.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things just
We got to get Joel from Mother of Africa to come up and, like talk about how he set up his thing. And the people from Three Little Birds too.
Well, so I'm feeding. I'm like I almost want to get food so I can take it home and just have it
Sweet fried plantain.
I'm honestly
chicken.
I'm so hyped. I'm gonna get some jerk chicken. I'm gonna get some curry goat. I need some saltfish. I'm just like I'm gonna have everything.
I've got to have some of the things that I've never heard of before. I'm just like one of those people that needs to eat stuff I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then
I would be a complete sucker for Hannibal Lecter. Offering brains.
Yeah.
You just want to try things you've never tried before.
It sounds so fun. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Chianti. It's the way he pronounces Chianti. It comes like Chianti. But like, I have this thing that at some point we're going to be able to clone people, and then we can have celebrity burgers, and that's the future.
Okay, so
Okay.
in our
That's a whole other show.
in our main, so we're gonna close on Nani's admission of cannibalism.
Hey, look, I want a Benedict. I want a Benedict
10
burger.
seconds. Okay. Well, this has been the Blackhouse. We'll see you all next week.
Ciao.
Peace.
Bye.
That program was brought to you by Wellington Access Radio. Get your voice heard. Thanks New Zealand On Air for funding accessmedia.nz.